Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what, I did and ended up in jail to somebody. Today is going to be a little bit of a different stream as I am joined by the wonderful, amazing, ranty, not flat earth, auditing the observed, auditing the the words, auditing the absurd. um, Ranty's going to be interviewing me about my recent interactions with the law and the reason why I was arrested. I've mentioned a few times on the streams that I was arrested and I'd been going through a court case, and now, as of Wednesday, the court case is over, and my lawyer has given me the all clear to talk about everything. So the wonderful Ranty has come to ask me a bunch of questions, and there will be lots of follow-ups on Ranty's channel, a new channel, The Auditing Absurd, over the next coming weeks and months. So look forward to that. But Ranty, thank you very much, buddy, for coming along. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a while, Craig. It really has.
Yes. I know you took a little bit of time off your channel because you've had some health issues which you posted about in your community tab, and I hope you're doing better from that.
Yeah, it's a strange thing actually. So during my time as a Flerf, obviously I put a little bit of weight on, should I say. I got up to about 17 stone 4. And I saw a picture of myself and I thought, no way, that's stopping. And I went on this mad diet where it was essentially one meal a day, which was about 700 calories or something like that. And I did that for basically 6 months, and I lost, well, I'm actually 11 stone 7 now.
Oof.
So I've lost almost 6 stone. But at the same time that I was doing this diet, I didn't realize the side effects that it would have, which would be depression, memory loss, lethargy, all the other things that go wrong with your brain. Because essentially I wasn't giving myself enough nutrients to feed my brain as well, because I was starving myself, and I'm only just coming back to myself now. Like, I haven't posted anything, any videos or anything for like 3 months on my channel, maybe more now, and that was all as a side effect of this, because I couldn't remember my lines, I couldn't write scripts. It was
depression ruined you. I fully understand.
And it was brought on by myself with this crazy diet that I did, I have to say. So, but I am actually feeling a little bit better now. As you can see, I'm using my phone to stream because I'm moving house, and I don't have all my setup here at the minute. So I'm using my phone currently, but should be back up and running hopefully within, well, with this next video that I'll be doing, which will be about this particular thing that we're going to be talking about today, because you told me about this way back when it first happened. I remember talking to you on Twitter about it, and we had a conversation about it, and we kept in touch about this, and I've known about it since August of last year. This is how long this has been going on, and there isn't just one event. There's multiple events, and there's even something that's happened today, but we'll get into this, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. You do look fantastic. I know losing weight is a hard thing to do. I've been fighting the tight shirt myself, and hopefully you pick back up and get that channel going, because what you're doing on there is amazing. But yeah, it's been an interesting time with my neighbor, and that's what this is all about. It's an ongoing neighbor dispute between me and the guy who lives directly above me.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it over to Ranty, and Ranty is just going to interview me now about what's happened, about why I was arrested, what's been happening, the conclusion with the court and everything, including what's happened today. So over to you, buddy.
Right. Well, before we get into this, I just want to say thank you for inviting me on. It's a pleasure to be here. I have no idea how many people are watching right now, but if anyone came over from this stream from my community post, hello, how are you all doing? And yeah, this is going to be a rather enjoyable stream, and I do feel that of course, there's going to be a lot of talk about this in the community, and I think breaching it this way, bringing it out to the public, the way that you're doing, is the best way to do it. Get in front of it, tell your side of the story, explain what happened, and yeah, I mean, if you want to hold your hands up to something, sure. And yeah, we know the I know the outcome, but people can speculate. I'm sure there'll be people speculating as to what actually has
Yeah.
been the conclusion of this. Right, so let's get into this. So last August, now this has all started over a bike, if I recall.
Yeah.
Now then, can you tell me the lead up to it? What happened with your bike?
I mean, it's more than just the bike. It's been, years of living next to this guy and him always coming to us to borrow stuff. From the day that we moved in, like 6 years ago, he's been constantly at my door asking for money, for food, for baking soda, passing out of the door because he's high on drugs or something, or coming along with items that are clearly stolen from somewhere and trying to sell them to me, asking for baccy even though I don't smoke, and just constantly an issue, right? But I've always given him the things that he's asked for because I don't want to see someone go without. If it's even though it's my last tenner, and he needs money, he says he needs money for gas, I'll give it to him because I want to be a good neighbor, and I've helped him so many times, and we've looked after his dog, and we've given him food and taken him for lifts to appointments and picking up money and stuff, and there's never anything paid back. The money that we lend him, it'll always be paid back next Thursday. Next Thursday never comes. The tools we give him, we never see them again. It's just like having a really hard to deal with third child. I've already got two, but it was like I'd adopted another one. And that's
Okay,
just kind of what it's like.
So, does this guy work? Does he have a job? Can you give me a bit of a background story?
Not that I'm aware of. He's been on benefits, living in the flat above me for as long as I've known. I'm pretty sure he does some kind of cash in hand manual labor stuff that he's probably not supposed to, but that's just speculation on my part. He's definitely not employed full time. He lives on his own up there, even though he's in a 3-bedroom flat and he's a council renter, which is kind of wrong in itself because that's taking stuff away from a family that might need it. But it's just like living next to someone that is a constant problem. His garden is like a jungle, and you have to go through his garden to get to my garden, and his junky friends will be standing in my garden throwing stones up at my his window to try and get his attention and stuff, and it's just been hell the whole time.
Okay. How old is he?
In his 50s, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you say you're on terms with him, but would you say that it was a friendship, a one-way thing, where it's always coming to you, he's always relying on you, he doesn't get you've never wanted anything from him?
No. Like he'd turn up at the door saying, "Oh, you got any odd jobs I can do?" So I'll pay him 20 quid to edge the grass, or even though it doesn't need doing, and stuff like that. He's never really given me anything. He's always begging for money in some form.
Okay, fair enough. Is it? I mean, I don't know if you've spoken to your solicitor about this, but are you allowed to mention his name?
Yeah,
or
I have
just call him.
Yeah, let's just call him neighbor. I've mentioned his name on the Facebook post. So if anyone wants to go to my Facebook post and see it, but I won't say his name on this stream. I'll just explain everything that's happened.
Okay. So
but then
going back to the
bike
incident.
Yeah.
The incident, yes. The thing that kicked it all off.
So Emma and I were in my back garden, and he comes over and asks if he can borrow Emma's bike because apparently his was stolen. I asked Emma, "Is that all right?" And she's like, "Yeah, okay, but I need it back because I'm training for a triathlon." Emma is in the middle. She does a triathlon in June, so she's been hard in training for this triathlon, including using that bike. And he's like, "Oh, no worries. I'll have it back to you straight away. I just need to go and get my bike." So off he pops. And hours go by, and he's not back. And it comes to about 11 o'clock, and we can hear him upstairs, and his bike's out the front, but no sign of Emma's bike. So I, hobble up to his flat and knock on the door. I was like, hey Simon, you got Emma's bike there so we can get it locked up for the night? And he starts telling me a story about how he found his bike and decided to cycle his bike back whilst carrying Emma's bike on his back, and he was struggling, which doesn't make sense. If you had two bikes to transport, you just wheel them along, you know. But because he was struggling, a good Samaritan, a random stranger, stopped him and said, "Oh, mate, you know what? You don't need to struggle. Give me that bike that's on your back, and I'll put it in my garden for safekeeping, and you can come back and get it when you're ready." And Simon agrees and apparently gives this person Emma's bike. And I was like, okay, that's a lovely story, but where's Emma's bike? It's now 11 o'clock. You know, you've had it for several hours. Can we get Emma's bike back? And he's like, oh, I promise you, back by 8 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock in the morning, no sign of him, no sign of the bike. Come 11 o'clock in the morning, he chaps on the door. Emma answers, thinking that she's going to be getting her bike, and instead, he says, "Oh, Emma, I've got no money. I've only got £7, and I need £10 for the gas. Can I borrow £3?" And Emma's like, "For fuck's sake!" And at that point, I just had a massive tax surprise, and I'd been wiped out. So we didn't actually have any spare money, right? But Emma digs through her purse, finds the last change that we have available, and gives him about 70p, because at this point, she was thinking, maybe I need to pay to get my bike back. I don't know. And he goes away. Still no sign of the bike. Emma's like, "Am I going to get my bike back?" And he's like, "Oh, the bike's safe as houses. I've left it at this number 20. It's safe as houses. I'll get it back for you today." Of course, the bike doesn't turn up. We don't see it. You know. Just want to make sure I'm getting the timeline completely right.
Well, whilst you do that, can you just double check with the audience whether or not there's any feedback or any echoing or anything like that? Because if there is, I can lower my phone down here.
No, it seems good. The audio seems perfect. It's both peaking at the right time.
Okay, wonderful.
All right, so yeah. It comes back to my. So yeah, Emma's a bit upset. You know, she's like, I've not got my bike. I've just given him money. Later in that day, Emma and I are sitting in the kitchen having a chat, and we got the back door open, and we hear him out the back. And I'm like, oh, I'll just go check if he's got the bike. Maybe he's bringing the bike back. So I go around to the back garden, out of my back door, and then you go right, and it goes into his back garden. And I was looking for him, and he was up the top of his stairs in the entrance to his flat. I was like, "Oh, hey Simon, any sign of the bike?" And he says he hasn't gone yet because he thinks the guy's at work. Which I was like, "What? You said the guy was a stranger. How would you know he's at work?" But I'm like, well, okay. Are we going to when we getting the bike back? And Emma hears this from the kitchen, and she's really pissed off, and she's like, "Simon, I'm getting fucking annoyed. You know, give me what." I feel like you've stolen my bike. Give me my bike back, or we're going to phone the police. And I'm the same. I'm like, look, you've taken the piss now. Get the bike back, and I go away. And then the next day, around 3 p.m., we were in the garden watering flowers and stuff, and he turned up on his bike, like, and stops outside the garden. "Oh, hey guys, do you want any work done? You got any work that he's doing that you can pay me for?" And we're like, "No." "Where's the bike?" And he says, "Oh, you still haven't gone to get it. He needs to, figure out where it is so we can go and collect it." And I'm like, "Right, okay, go and get the bike." And then later on that day,
okay.
So
how many?
Yeah.
So
sorry.
how many days are we into now? Is this like day 2 or day 3?
This is day 3. So we gave him the bike on Thursday. This is now the Saturday, right?
Okay.
And that evening, my next door neighbor was actually getting married. And she was doing it all in the back garden. She's having a party in the back garden. So we'd been invited. Emma and I were getting a bit in the mood. You know, I've got a bottle of fucking beer in my hand and I'm out in the front garden. Obviously had a few. And Simon's like, "Oh, Craig, sorry, I just said his name, but oh, give me a lift to go and find the bike. And I'm like, you can clearly see I'm drinking, so no. And I leave it because I don't want any drama on the night of my neighbour's wedding, right? So I just leave it for that day. You know, we have the party, it's great, drink a lot. Next day comes, I'm pretty wrecked, so early afternoon, after, you know, we've fed the kids and everything, and they're all happy, Emma and I, we're going to go and have a little nap. She's got a bit of a migraine, I'm a bit hungover, and about 7 o'clock, there's a bang on the door, and it's Simon. And I'm like, oh, maybe the bike's there. So I get out of bed, put my dressing gown, hobble to the front door, answer the door, and he's like, oh, you know what, Craig, the best I can do is let Emma use my bike. And I was like, what do you mean that? No, we want Emma's bike. Where's Emma's bike? Oh, well, the thing is, right, I gave it to this guy, but I can't remember which house it is, and I've been going around knocking on the houses, and I can't find where it is. And I'm like, so let me get this clear. You've given my wife's bike to somebody that you don't know, and you don't know where he lives. And he's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, you fucking have. Right, and at this point, I'm obviously annoyed, right? My wife's been upset. You don't fucking upset my wife. I feel like at this point, my property's been stolen. So I say quite clearly to him, right, this is the last fucking chance. You go and get that fucking bike now, or I'm phoning the police. And I shut the door. And I walk away, because I'm getting angry. Right? So I walk away from it. And then, as I'm walking away from my front door, he opens my front door, comes into my house, looks at me and he says, phone the police and we'll see what fucking happens.
Okay, so, right. First and foremost, there's nothing wrong with getting angry or shouting at somebody, demanding your stuff back. If this is like day 4 or day 5, yeah, and he's making all these excuses up, and he's literally basically just told you that he doesn't know where your bike is, essentially, after you loaned it him, after telling you where it had been for days. So, I have no problem with you being angry at that point. You weren't physical. You didn't get in his face. You weren't physical. You told him to go and get your bike, or you're going to phone the police. I think you did everything right at that point. I think he then crossed the line by walking into your door and pointing his finger at you.
Aye. And
basically telling you, well, threatening. It was a threatening thing. It wasn't phone the police. It was phone the police and then you'll see what happens. In other words, I take that as a veiled threat. I'm assuming
I absolutely
that you took it the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, right, as far as I'm concerned, someone's come into my house where my wife and 2 kids lived and threatened me. I mean, he's frankly lucky we don't live in America, because we all know what could happen in that case in America. But what I did was I turned around and I picked him up by the throat and I took him out my front door and I slammed him into the railing on my ramp that I've got going out to my door. And I said to him, you get the fucking bike. You go and get the fucking bike. And he started fighting back and we went down to the floor. And I was holding him on the floor and I was like, get the fucking bike back. I'm going to let you up now and you're going to go and get the fucking bike. Now, I've mentioned many times on this channel that I'm disabled, especially with my left knee, right? And he knows that my left knee is bad. So what he did at that point was he went and grabbed my leg, my bad leg, and shoved it back, which fucking hurt. And I fell over. And he got on top of me. I managed to flip it, put him in a headlock, and gave him a couple of punches before Emma dragged me off and told him to fucking beat it. And that was it for the day. I was
okay. So in recap, excuse me, I've got a right cough right now.
That's what I mean.
But as a recap, then. He walked into your house, you turfed him out of your house, right?
Yeah.
And he then came at you.
Yeah.
You defended yourself. You had a bit of a scuffle, a bit of a, argy-bargy. You gave him a couple of cracks. It seemed like you got the better of him. But ultimately, that culminated with you still telling him to go and get your damn bike, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get what happened next?
So the next day, I'm in my front garden, watering the flowers, because we put a lot of effort that year into making our garden look fantastic. And it was hot August, I was watering my flowers, and he comes out of his garden and walks in front of mine and starts going, "See you, who the fuck do you think you are fucking touching me, calling me a thief? I've not fucking stolen Emma's bike. Who do you fucking think you are touching me? Don't you know who I am, who my fucking family is?" You know, like this. So I stood up and I looked at him and I said, "You are a thief, and for every day that Emma's bike is not back, I'm going to kick your ass." I shouldn't have said that. I was triggered, right? But he'd already come into my house and threatened me, and he was now coming to me aggressively, and that came out. And he was like, "Come on then, fucking do it now." Yeah, stupid me did. Hobbled out into the street, up to him, and he put his dukes up like this and starts dancing around like he's a boxer, right? So I stood there for about 3 seconds and watched him moving, and then I grabbed his shoulder and punched him in the face. And then I picked him up and I slammed him on the ground. And I mean, I think the best way to describe this portion of the fight is, you know that scene from the first Avengers movie where Hulk and Loki have their little thing, you know, puny god.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that, you know. Yes, I am physically disabled, right? But I'm 6 foot plus. I'm a big guy. I'm strong, and I'm trained by the military. All right, I'm trained by the military in combat, and when the military train you in combat, they train you a very specific way, and the way they train you is to finish fights as soon as possible by whatever means necessary. And that's what kicked in for me. At that point, I felt threatened. I felt like there's going to fight going on. Also, you know, I know that I'm not as in shape as I would, and I'm not going to be able to last in a prolonged fight. So I needed to end that fight there and then, and that's what I attempted to do. But once again, he grabbed my leg and pulled me to the floor, and it, you know, came into a bit of a scuffle, and he kept hitting my leg. So to stop him doing that, I grabbed his head and rammed it into the floor several times, and then managed to push myself up away from him, turned round and punched him in the head as hard as I could, which kind of, you know, stopped the ebb of the flow, because that obviously hurt him quite a bit. At that point, a couple of my neighbours came out and restrained me, and my wife grabbed Simon's foot and pulled him away from me to make sure that I couldn't hurt him anymore, because I was angry and I was hurting him. You know, I should not have done that, all right? After that happened, I felt physically sick that I'd hurt someone like that. But at that point of time, it felt like the thing that needed to happen, right? But at the end of the day, I assaulted him. You know, I technically hit him first, even though he put his dukes up. You know, I was very severe in my physical response, so much so that he was pretty bashed up. You know, he had a lot of cuts and bruises on his face.
We can get into his we'll get into his injuries later for sure. Was that the incident that most of his injuries? Yeah, you know, were happened. You're right, okay, because I know the extent of the injuries. You've told me those. The worst than what you just said. Let me put it like that. And yeah, so I mean, if people want to speculate in the chat, by all means, you know, I mean, fire away. We will get to that at some point. But basically, again, you had another scuffle. He came to your property, and yeah, you were still angry from the altercation before. Mm-hmm. Now, if that was me, we'd had this scuffle. If I'd had a scuffle with somebody, and I knew that I'd taken their bike, and we'd had a scuffle, and you were really angry, I wouldn't come and approach you unless it was to bring back the bike. Mm-hmm. If I'm coming to approach you at that moment in time, I'm actually coming to cause some kind of altercation, whether it's verbal or physical. And I know that by doing that, I'm going to get a rise out of you in some way. Now, It's interesting that you mentioned that he said you don't know who my family is. Well, what kind of family doesn't lend him £3
Yeah. Why
when
is
he
he always
needs
coming
it?
to me for
Well,
money?
you know, if it's my family, if I'm short, I go to my family first. So by saying to you, "Oh, you don't know who my family is," I've got a pretty good idea of who his family is. So,
Oh yeah, don't worry.
so
We can get to his
that
family
to
because
me,
there's more. Now,
right?
yeah,
Okay. So you had this incident. You were dragged away.
yeah.
He was dragged away too. At what point then did the police get involved?
Well, one of my other neighbors, who's a friend of Simon's, was shouting at me, "Oh, you're gonna fucking get, the police called, blah blah blah," and she handed the guy the phone, and he called the police. And then the police later came out, well, very quickly came out and arrested me and took me to jail. Interestingly, the guy is a known violent offender who has been arrested many times for assault, including beating someone up in the street with nunchucks because he thought that he'd stolen his guitar, when it turned out that the guitar had actually been given as collateral for a drug debt and he'd just forgotten. But it's absolutely fine for him to go around assaulting people, but as soon as the disabled guy gives him what many people might call a justified kicking, he's straight on the phone, phoning the police against me. I'm not a violent person, right? I'm an angry person. I'm in chronic pain from my military injuries, and that has given me a disorder called dystemic disorder. And one of the main aspects of dystemic disorder is I struggle to control my temper, my anxiety, my stress levels, very much so. Very much like Bruce Banner, I am always angry, and it got the better of me, and I feel ashamed in myself that I let that anger take over me in the way it did. And I know my kids would have seen this happening, and that didn't make me feel good. I had to explain to my children that fighting still isn't the right thing to do. You don't do this, even though they just seen me do it, and it made me feel incredibly bad. But I did assault the guy, fair nick. I was rightfully arrested. I was taken to jail. I was taken to the cells, booked in. I was there for about 3 hours, and then released under my own cognizance for bail.
Okay. So can we ask the audience so far, everyone in the chat? Craig's obviously feels very guilty about what went on the second event, not the first event. The first event was the day before. The second event, when he's in his garden, this guy approaches him after the altercation day before. He still hasn't returned the bike. In that same circumstance, would you have got into an altercation with this guy the same as Craig has? Press 1 if you believe that you would have done. Press 1. Press 2 if you wouldn't, because it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the general consensus is on this. Because to be fair, I know you're saying that you feel guilty for this, or you feel ashamed for it, or all that kind of stuff, or you feel guilty for it. I wouldn't, because the way he came up to you, to me, he was asking for it again. He was asking for round 2.
Yeah, he was.
And you gave him round 2.
He baited me into a fight, but I'm a father. I'm a husband. I've got responsibilities. I shouldn't put myself in that situation and rise to somebody who is trying to bait me into a fight. I shouldn't have done that, and whether or not it was, people think it was justified or not, I still didn't like that I'd hurt somebody, even though I don't like the guy and he's caused a lot of problems. Replaying that in my head, I was physically sick. I hated it.
Yeah, I mean, I know the extent of the injuries. You've already told me about this, and we'll get to that at some point, and we'll ask whether or not it was reasonable force. That's debatable, in my opinion, whether it's debatable. And I think that's more of the If it was just a boxing match, you had a little box in the center of the street, and you sort of like you settled your score that way. But like you've already explained, you have maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes of fighting in you due to your injuries, due to your health, due to your not working out so much because you can't do that anymore. You spend most of your time in a chair recording videos and stuff, so you're not exactly in the peak of fitness. So, like you've already explained, you've got 1 or 2 minutes in you. You have to finish the fight. Ideally, I'm sure you'd have loved to have boxed him for 10 minutes, and that would have been an ideal situation considering the injuries that he sustained. But like you say, sometimes you get that Hulk, the redness, it just comes over you,
Yeah.
And but personally, I don't think he should have come to your gate. I don't think he should have come and confronted you at that moment in time. He should have brought the bike back. That's what he should have done, and he should have apologized for walking in your house. And he should have brought your bike back.
That was one of the worst things for this whole thing, is that not once was there an apology of any kind. Not once was there a, I'm really sorry that I've come back with my bike and not Emma's, I'm going to sort it out. There was nothing. There was just what was clearly lies and excuses. I don't know for sure, right? But my speculation is that bike was collateral for a drug debt. Or his bike was, and he swapped it with Emma's bike. Again, that is complete speculation on my part, but considering what has happened with him in the past, that's what I think happened, And the bike didn't get brought back until the police had to go and find it. So as far as I'm concerned, the bike was stolen because the police were the ones that got it back.
Well, before we go on there, what did when you were taken to jail, when you were interviewed, what did they charge you with? What was the offence?
So I was charged with the first thing when he came to my door. I still got charged for assault for that. Then the second charge was threatening and abusive behaviour for telling him that I would kick his ass every day. And the third charge again was for assault for the second fight. So I got charged with 2 lots of assault and 1 count of threatening and abusive behaviour.
And do you know what the terms are that you can actually get for assault?
The maximum punishment for the crimes that I committed could have been up to 7 years in prison in Scotland.
Right. Okay. So assault is pretty serious here. You can get some serious jail time for that. So after you were released, what happened next?
Obviously, I'm under bail conditions at this point, right? You're released under your own cognizance, but bail conditions. And one of those bail conditions is, you don't talk to them. You don't look at them. You don't offend. You do nothing to antagonize the situation, which I worked hard at doing, right? And for a while, it was fine, right? We were just waiting for the court case to come up. My solicitors, dealing with it, and we're just waiting for it to come along. But I start to notice on my Ring camera that when he goes past my house, he would spit on the floor. And I'm just like, whatever, he's disgusting. I'm not going to rise to it. It keeps happening. And then one day there is a skip put in our street. They do it every year after New Year, help you declutter. And I had a couple of things in the garden, and I'd hobbled over with them and chucked them in the skip, right? And on the way back, he walks out of his garden in front of me, walking back towards my garden, and I'm behind him. And as he gets to my footpath leading up to my ramp, he spits on the floor. And then he walks a bit more forward, goes by my driveway, and does it again and spits on my car. And then he turns around and looks at me and he goes, "Do you get the fucking message yet, I?" Boom. Yeah, I know.
That is the craziest thing. And what did you do? What was your reaction to that?
I was completely shocked, and I was like, you do realise that this has just been recorded on my Ring camera, right? And he walked off, muttering some incoherent junkie ramblings of some kind. But I was like, what? Did that just happen? So, as far as I'm concerned, that was a threat, right? And so I phoned I'm like, yeah, that's not... What message am I supposed to get? You've just said, do I get the fucking message? I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I do get the message. And then I did something stupid. But it's alright, because nothing came of it. So I noticed that his bike was in the street outside his garden. And because he said, did I get the message yet? He's obviously trying to send me a message. I decided that I would send my own message. And I took his bike and I rolled it over to the skip and I just popped it in the skip. Yeah, I get your message. Do you get mine? Kind of thing. Which was dumb. I was under bail conditions, but luckily he's stupid enough that he didn't phone the police. So nothing really came of that, except I sent him the message that I felt was appropriate. All his little neighbour friends saw it happen. I'm like, oh, look at you bullying him. You're bullying him. Yeah, okay. I don't think you know what bully means. And then
so you've mentioned Ring. You've mentioned you've got a Ring doorbell. So for those that don't know, when somebody walks past, it's motion censored. It starts recording, right?
Yeah.
How many of these altercations do you have on video?
I've got the original one of him walking into the house was deleted, but I've got ones of him shouting at me in the street, and I've got maybe 8 different videos of him spitting. I've got the video of him spitting and threatening me. I've got and then what happened this morning, which we will get to soon as well. Whilst all this is going on, his sister decides to pay me a visit. And comes slamming on the door. Emma answers the door, and this woman's like, where's your fucking man? Get your fucking man. Emma looks at me and she's like, stay in the kitchen. Don't you dare move. And you know what? When my wife tells me to do something, I fucking do it. So I stay in the kitchen and she's like, just go away. Just go away, all right? And the woman starts saying about how if she thinks Simon's crazy, she better wait until they see how crazy she is. She's going to fucking bang out my wife, you know, and then she's going to beat the shit out of me. This is all on Ring camera. Emma is standing there looking at the Ring camera and looking back at her like, this is being recorded. Are you thick? Oh, you're going sideways. So then, as she walks off, she sees my son through his bedroom window and starts threatening him. My 14-year-old son. So we reported this to the police, and that's being dealt with. You right there, Ranty? Where's he gone? Ranty? I'm not sure what's happened there. Whilst Shane, well, he's left. Whilst Ranty figures that out, maybe come back in a sec. I'm going to read some super chats because you guys have been sending me a bunch of super chats whilst we're talking about this. Did Ranty just die? Something happened to Ranty there. Okay, so I can't believe you guys are sending super chats for this. I don't feel like I should be getting paid for this, but thank you very much. Megan Satanis, $2 says for FTFE's commissary. I may need something. Another $5 from Megan Satanis says funding bust FTFE's escape tunnel. You have to bust me out of jail. And Megan Satanis for $10 says buying FTFE a thieves toolkit +5 so we can rescue him. Oh, yeah, +5 tools would be good. Wonder where Ranty's gone. Pat in the chat for $10 says Craig's channel Viva Law and Order in the fight against stupidity in the shape of the earth is represented by 2 unequal groups, those with brains and those without. These are their stories. Dun dun. String News 1 for $10 says for the old prison wallet FTFE. Yeah, I'm gonna need to buy some ramen noodles and stuff to start trading inside. Dave Kircher, $10 says crime doesn't pay, but super chats do. So thank you very much for that, Dave. Darren de Baron for 4.99 says, welcome back to the channel that sets stupidity on an interesting ride that rotates 15 degrees per hour. But you can't see it because it's beyond your eyes range. For $2, £2 for €2, thank you very much. Just the Messenger 1.99 says, hey Ranty, good to see ya. You gotta love Ranty, but he's disappeared right now, so it's just infinite FTFEs. Yeah, he got mad and he's come up here. Megan Satanas, $3 with a fist bump. Thank you very much. Fist bump back. You know what? If I'm going to fist bump you, I will do it properly. Fist bump. Sparky Stee for £5 says, £5 says, Craig, can we lock him up and Witsit in a room and teach him a lesson? I do not endorse violence. Megan Satanis, been a member for 20 months, says, Craig is one bad mofo. I'm a naughty boy. I shouldn't have done what I did. Jess Tiger, $5, says, fight the flat earth. Fight. Yes, indeed. Megan Satanis, $5, says, FTFE, welcome to Fight Club. Our first rule is we do not talk about Fight Club. It sounds like a stupid way to run a club, not talking about it, to be fair. Matt Hooks, member for 10 months, thank you very much, says, since when did the Navy teach boat people to fight? Runs and hides. Trust me, we're taught to fight. Someone comes on the ship, we got to know how to defend that ship. Philip Hardward, $10 Australian, says, Christ, I know how you feel with junkies. Where I am in Australia, we had a few run-ins with junkies. It's not a good feeling. Hope everything goes well for you. Thank you very much. Dave Kircher just gifted 10 memberships. So if you've just become a member and you didn't do it, say thank you to Dave. Dave's not here, man. And 3-1 for $5 says, bang out my wife. Means something completely different in the US. Yeah, I know. Let's see what's going on with Ranty. He went sideways and then disappeared. Well, Ranty doesn't seem to be online anymore, so I think he may be having internet issues because of the fact that he's moving home. So we may have to continue without him. That's fine. So, I had to go to court for this, obviously. And my solicitor suggested a plea deal. That I plead not guilty to the first one where he came into my home, but I do plead guilty to the threatening behavior and the second assault because, you know, it's very hard to defend against what I did in that situation. I was very aggressive, very forceful, maybe too much so, went too far, and I accept that. So, you know, it was suggested that I should speak to a social worker about my issues in general and what's going on. So I had an interview with a social worker, and obviously the reports for everything, all the evidence, the report from the social worker, it goes to the judge, and then the judge makes a decision. So come the court case, final day, which was Wednesday just gone, I go to court, and you know, they've accepted my plea deal. So I've accepted that I'm guilty for the charge of threatening behavior, and I've accepted that I'm guilty for the charge, the second charge of assault. So the Proctor Fiscal and my solicitor do their little back and forth, and my solicitor explains pretty much what I've explained to you guys here today. I can't even get through to Ranty right now. Yeah, so and then the judge speaks to me, and the judge, oh no, right. So before that, in the courtroom, as my solicitor is reading out everything that I've just explained to you and the assault and everything, some guy at the back of the courtroom shouts, "Good on you, mate! I'd have done the same thing," and gets hoofed out by the bailiffs, which was quite funny. And then the judge speaks to me, makes it very clear that what I did was wrong. You know, the violence is not acceptable. But his words were that it's clear that the other guy is a habitual offender because he's well known to the police, that took the good nature of a good Samaritan too far, and it was the straw that broke the camel's back. That was how the judge described the situation. The judge gave me credit for the fact that I was in the military. The judge gave me credit for the fact that I don't have a criminal record. And the judge gave me credit for the fact that I, in general, even though I'm always angry, control my temper. Oh. His battery died. He's going to be back in 2 minutes. Plastic says, you're going to court with that mohawk. Yes, I went to court with the mohawk. Of course I did. It's part of me. So the judge says that, you know, what would be suggested is a fine of £1,000, but due to all the good credit, the judge took the charge down to £400 of court costs and a £20 victim surcharge. So he got £20. That's what he gets out of all this. He gets £20 after what happened and what I did to him. Lord Loomis Poo for $2 says, read the PDF. Fuck him, mate. What PDF? Did you send me a PDF? Oh, here we go. Ranty's back. Stephen Alley, $2 says, what we have here is a clear case of FAFO, the judge. You're right, dude.
I am. Yeah, my battery died. It's so weird. I've got a new phone, and for some reason, it had 40% on it, and we've only been going for like 40 minutes or so. I even had it on charge at the same time, and it just died on me. So obviously the battery life on this isn't very good. So I'm hand-holding it at the minute, charged into the main.
As long as you're alive, so that's all good. The chat were worried that you were dead or something. So
no, I'm all good. I'm all good.
I was just explaining to the chat that what came of it and what the charges were. So as you told me, as you asked me, there were 3 charges, 2 of assault and 1 of threatening behaviour. My solicitor suggested a plea deal, and I pled guilty to the second 2 charges, but not guilty to one of him coming into the house, which was accepted because I don't think anyone can deny that what I did when he came into the house was justified. So we went to court, and I had to have a report from a social worker about my mental state and everything. And with all that, the judge at the end decided that my charge would be £400 of court costs and £20 victim surcharge payable to him. So that is my punishment. It's over with in the courts. My punishment is that I have to pay £30 a month, I think, for a total of £420.
Yeah,
which is a good result.
What? Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I mean, what you were looking up to 7 years, right? So to go
absolutely.
from that, and I do believe that the judge actually had something nice to say about you as well. He did say he thanked you for your service, right?
Yeah. He said he gives me credit for the fact that I was in the military. I'm willing to serve my country, and he made quite a big thing about that. And my solicitor did say this is a judge that's known to like military people, so I was quids in there really.
Awesome. Now then, should we talk about the injuries now, or should we talk about his what's happened today? Which would you prefer to do?
I honestly don't know if I want to mention the extent of the injuries on the stream, in case YouTube get angry with me. But I will briefly go over them. His face was messed up. There was cuts. There was bruises. There was broken bits on his face. So much so that later that evening he had to phone an ambulance to come out because my severe beating that I gave him had made him feel dizzy and stuff. Yeah, I don't want to go through the full extent of the injuries because I don't know if YouTube will like that very much because they were pretty bad. And it's understandable with what I did to him, you know. And again,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the
I
thing.
don't
Because
like it.
we you know, I mean, I'm going to do like a mini documentary on this.
Yeah,
I'm going to put a lot of effort into it so that it's told in the right way, where obviously you're given an interview just like this. And on my stream, I don't mind if you want to talk about it on my stream. That would be
yeah,
great. Because obviously, if it's a documentary type thing, I think people would like to hear just how badly it fucks him up.
yeah,
I I'm pretty aware of it. So yeah, let's just say that I believe that the punishment that you got, the £400 fine, was very lenient considering the damage that you inflicted on him.
yeah.
But obviously, you know, people can speculate in the meantime as to about you know, how bad his injuries were. We'll find out when the documentary comes out on my channel, I guess. Then we'll keep it to that.
Yes. Um, uh, and here's the thing, right? I found out recently that his daughter's going to be moving in with him, right? And that made me have a good hard think. And number one, I don't want to live in a neighborhood with hostility, right? Number two, if his daughter's moving in with him, she's completely innocent in all this, and I don't want her living in this hostile environment. So I was this close to being the bigger man and going to him and saying, look, let's make it a truce, okay? What's happened has happened, right? For the sake of whatever, you know, let's move on. I don't want to do that, but I felt like, right, if someone's, you know, if maybe he's trying to get his life together, his daughter's moving in, whatever, I've got kids, I don't want there to, you know, maybe I should go and do that. But then he kept spitting in front of my garden. He kept doing it. And he did that thing where he threatened me that I talked about earlier. And he keeps doing that, right? And then it gets to today.
Oh yeah. Well, you see, this is the thing. You see, because I know what happened today.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Before we get to that, let's ask the audience again. Do you think? Forget that you know there's an incident today, right? Before we get to that incident, right? Let's just pretend that this is all done and dusted. It's been to court. It was a couple of days ago. It's all sorted out now. Should Craig go around and just call a truce with the guy so that they can, you know, live as a neighborhood with the family, etc., like that? If you believe that's the case, that Craig should make the first move, be the bigger man, press 1. If you don't, and you just think, sod him, screw him, you know, we'll keep this animosity going, press 2. And, you know, we'll see where that ends up.
I'll put up a poll for that quickly. So the first poll, 71% of people said that they would do what I did. So I'll put up a poll as well. Should FTFE be the bigger man and make up?
Yep. And this is before we know that there was an incident today. So put that out of your mind for now. If it had all been just done and dusted, he's got his fine. Everybody's sorted it all out now. Should he just move on, try and just work it out with this guy? You know, because obviously you've got to live there, right? And you've got your kids to worry about. You've got your wife to worry about. You know, is it better to sort of like draw a line under this and move on? Or should you keep this going? You know, I mean, I'd be interested to see what that poll is now, and then be interested to see in 10 minutes' time, if we run another poll, what their opinion is of it then.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
So before we get on to what happened today, have you got any more questions for me about what's happened?
Yeah, I mean, I know that you've kept this out of the community, right? So I know that there's probably only a handful of people that have known about this. And that's quite surprising, considering that the Flerfs normally.
Oh no, is he gone again? Oh no, Ranty.
I'm still here.
Oh, there you are. Sorry.
Oh, go.
There we go.
Yeah, so it just goes to show that the Flerfs can't research, right? Because
Yeah.
you're actually giving them ammunition now. Because obviously this is going to be a talking point.
Yeah.
And, you know,
this will
people
be
are
in
going
the
to make
press.
their own opinion.
Dunfermline Press, they basically report on all kind of crimes like this, assaults like this. So soon this will be in the newspaper in my local area and on the website, and the flat earthers will find out about it. So I figured it was best to get ahead of it.
And I think that's the best thing to do is to put the side out that, you know, to hold your hands up for what you believe that you did wrong, to own that, and to essentially, well, you've been given a fine now, £400. It's quite a lot of money. You know, for you know, you're a big YouTuber, but you're not the biggest, and you know, money's hard to come by.
Yeah.
You know, it really is. £400 out of your pocket for essentially somebody who's, this all started because somebody stole your bike, right?
Yeah.
And to me, that seems unfair. On the other side of the coin, knowing his injuries, you know, you're lucky you didn't get a jail term. But it is what it is. I mean, it's a lesson learned, right?
Yeah.
But what's the poll say? What's the poll say currently?
Should FTFE be the bigger man and make up? 38% say yes, and 63% say no.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Right. Let's get on to today then. Let's
right.
And this was caught on Ring as well, you know,
Yep.
so
yeah,
right.
And I recorded it on my phone as well, especially the really good bits. So this morning, as every morning, we get up with the kids, getting ready for school. And Emma usually takes them to school, come back, and then we'd do housework or whatever, or go for a swim and work on the channel. As Emma goes out, she then comes back in and she says, "He's just spat on the floor again when I was out there," right? And I look at the Ring camera, and it's right as my wife goes out. He walks past in front of her. And I'm like, my kids have got to walk out there to go to the car, right? So I pop my head out the door, and he's standing there with someone else who I didn't recognise. I was like, "Oi, quit fucking spitting in front of my garden. That's disgusting." Because it is, right? And I'm like, it's just stop it. And him and his friend, who it turns out is his sister's partner, start screaming like chimpanzees in mating season, calling me a bully, shouting about how I've assaulted him, and the guy from the main guy threatened me with death several times. Said, "You're fucking dead. You're fucking dead." Whilst his friend, his sister's partner, was trying to get up my ramp to get to me. Emma stood on the ramp and wouldn't let him past. And then Simon, sorry, I keep saying his fucking name. Oh well, it's out now. And then this guy also comes up the ramp and starts also pushing against Simon, against my wife. And the guy, his sister's partner, pulls Emma's hair. Whether it was an accident or whatever, these two have just rammed into my wife, trying to push her up the ramp, and then one of them's pulled Emma's hair. Emma's made it clear that I was not allowed to go out. Plus, my son was there with me, telling me, "Dad, just stay calm, don't do anything." So the Ring camera had recorded, and I got my phone out and I started recording as well. And him and his partner's, his sister's partner, were then out in the street screaming at me about how they're going to kill me, and how when they find me without my camera, they're going to bounce me up and down the street. You know, it's a lovely way to talk to a disabled veteran in his house in the morning, you know. So the thing is that they're fucking stupid. because they just committed several crimes on cameras. So I, of course, had to phone the police, and I did. And now there is a warrant out for both of their arrests for threatening to kill me and for assaulting my wife.
And it's an ongoing thing as well. I mean, this should have been, this should have been all brushed under the carpet now. You went to court, that should have been all done and dusted as far as the police should be concerned. This is an incident, it's been done. You've had to pay a fine, you've had to give him £20 in compensation. He should be happy with that. Again. He's got 20 quid. He's got 20 quid and didn't even have to mow your lawn, right? So, so he's quid's in, right? But he's still not happy. And I guess my question is then, there's a warrant out for them, but these new people that are coming on the scene, it seems like they're wanting to carry on this more, which in my mind, that kind of makes me unsettling for you. I mean, I feel like that you need to start asking yourself these sort of questions, like, do you want to live in that same street anymore? Is there any way that you can do something
honestly,
different?
I don't want to live here anymore. I love this home. This is a great home for me. The rooms are great. The space is great. I've got a wet floor shower room. I've got the ramp coming up to the. This is designed for me because I'm disabled, but right now I don't feel safe in my house, in my street. If I go outside to the bins, am I going to fucking get jumped by some junkies? I don't know. And that's what I feel like now. But I'm not really in a position where I can just move either.
Mm. And it feels like this all started because you were the good Samaritan. You were the guy helping him out. Yeah. He's the guy that took advantage. Sure, you wanted your bike back, but this is all escalated from him taking, and essentially stealing. Yeah. And now you're in a situation where you've got to worry about your wife being assaulted, who has been assaulted today. Yeah. Your children, yourself, whose life's been threatened. Mm-hmm. This is pretty serious stuff, considering that this guy has already had a conviction for attacking people or a person with knuckle dusters, right?
Nunchucks.
And other weapons as well. Yeah. So this isn't an idle threat to me. This to me is a serious situation. This is a situation that if I was in your shoes, I would be trying to move if possible, because I don't think there's any reconciling with them anymore. I know we did a poll, should you be the bigger man, but I don't feel that this is not going to get resolved by being the bigger man. I think that, my advice to you would be, if possible, try and relocate somewhere else. Not just for yourself, but for your family as well. Because this could, considering that they gave death threats to you today, this could escalate, and your whole family could be in some danger here.
I mean, that's basically how I feel. He keeps threatening me, saying that my family and all this, and I'm not. I can defend myself, and I will, but at the same time, who knows what junkie's going to turn up with a fucking pocket knife or something, So
yeah,
listen,
they could throw anything in the garden.
Yeah,
they could throw anything in the garden. Needles. Your children play out there, and you've already had them come up your drive today, come into your garden, assault your wife. At this point, I believe that you need better. Can you ask your audience again? Can you do another poll?
Yeah, well, I did. So what I did was I ended that last poll, which was 65% no and 34% yes. Should I be the better man? And then I've asked again, after hearing what he's done since then, should FTFE be the bigger man? And now basically everyone's saying no.
Right. Maybe do another poll then and ask, should you move, or should you stay there? Is it beneficial for you to stay where you are because you've got all the commodities and amenities that you have in your house with your wet shower and everything like that, everything that you need being disabled. But is that based upon your current circumstances, which is having your life threatened, your wife's been assaulted, you've got to worry about your children? At what point is having the comforts of your wet room and, you know, things like that more important than that? So, you know, my poll would be, should you move or should you stay? You know, what guarantee are the police going to give you that they can look after you in this situation? Because I don't feel that they can.
No. I will ask them as well. Yeah, so basically 90% of people there now think, no, I shouldn't be the bigger man. Should I move? Let's see what people think. I mean, I would like to move. You know, if I had the money, I would gladly go somewhere else. But as it stands, I'm a council renter myself. You know, this place was given to me by the council because of my needs, and moving home isn't quite as simple as that. You know, if I was some super Mr. Beast YouTuber that makes £20 million a video, then easy, I'll go live in a hotel for a bit or something, you know. But although my YouTube channel provides for me and my family and we've got a relatively comfortable life from it, we don't really have enough money to just go and move house.
I understand. So it feels like you're trapped in a lot of ways, then.
Yeah, it does feel a bit like that. I honestly can't believe the amount of support I'm getting in super chats, guys. I didn't think that this would be a super chat stream, but the support you guys show me with what I go through, you're gonna make me cry again. So can you not?
I can't see the super chats because I'm on my phone, so I have no idea what's happening right now. But I'm assuming that you've got some generous people out there too. Like you were generous to this guy originally. You know, you looked after him, and I guess that your audience is looking after you, right? So, what's the poll currently at? What are we doing on the poll?
Should I move? Is 52 to yes and 48 to no. So it's pretty split down the middle.
Split down the middle, yeah. You know, you gotta weigh it all up, haven't you? Yeah. You know what's best.
What I am currently doing, and I don't care if he knows this. In fact, I hope he watches this stream and understands this. Is that I am reporting everything to the council, to the housing officer that lives around here. I'm telling him everything. I'm telling him the fact that I'm pretty sure he works for cash in hand while still getting benefits, which is legal. I don't think I even told you guys that there was one time, right, where Emma took him to a food bank because he was so poor and couldn't have any food, right, or whatever. And he went into this food bank and he came out with shitloads of stuff. He got in the car, sat next to Emma and was like, I told him lies that my kids were coming over so I could get more food. This is the kind of person he is, you know?
He sounds like scum, mate. He sounds
scum
like
is scum. The right word, absolutely. And I've called him that to his face several times now, and I will keep calling that to his face. So, you know, that's where we are right now. That's the whole story. That's what I live with my neighbor. Somehow people in the street defend him and call me a bully because I guess he lies to them about what happens, you know? But obviously they're too dumb to realize that I've got video footage of the majority of the stuff that has happened, you know?
And it's literally today as well. I mean, this last incident, it seems to me like it's escalated because it was originally with yourself, but if it's bringing your wife into this, who had her hair pulled, did they step onto your property as well?
They were in the garden, but in Scotland there's no trespassing laws. No one's garden belongs to them.
Right. Still, you know, I class my garden as my garden. You know, I mean, if anyone steps on my garden, it's mine.
I'm the same, but there's no legal recourse for someone stepping into your garden in Scotland, unfortunately. Oh my god, I cannot actually believe the support I'm getting. It is it's a little bit emotional, ranty. Like there's a few 50 quid super chats there and stuff. Like I'm a little blown away. Basically, my fine's been paid for. With
Hey, well, listen. If your fine's been paid, that's amazing. Hey, listen. I hope this guy is watching, because do you know what he needs to realise is that you're one of the bigger YouTubers in Scotland, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you command a fairly decent audience. But not only that, you have a community of people behind you too that will, I'm sure, want to do their own little spin on this and talk about it. And yep. Simon is his name. I don't know his surname yet, but I will put his full name out on my channel. Believe you me. I'll have his full name out, general location, how he got screwed up by a disabled guy, and it's all going to come out in a proper documentary. Ex-military disabled military man takes on thug and destroys him, and has his audience pay his fine for him, which is even better, which is just fantastic. That they've paid your fine. They've paid your fine. Listen, you find
I'm like literally 30 quid off from the entire thing being paid. I don't know what to do.
Well, put it this way: you joined the Navy to fight. Then, when you left the Navy, you decided to fight the flat Earth, and then you didn't expect to be fighting on your doorstep or in the street, but you are. You know what? Yeah. And people are behind you over that. People supported you when you were fighting the flat Earth, and people are supporting you now when they realise that you've had a tough time of it. This has been going on for frigging 7 months, right? This has been hanging over your head. You've been worried about going to jail for 7 months, and I know you have, because we've talked.
Yeah,
about
I've been,
and it's always been in the back of my head.
It's been one of the things that has affected me mentally a lot recently. I've talked about my mental health. With the pain I'm going through, with the fact that my dad's going through dealing with blood cancer, that I'm a little bit scared about a bit of skin cancer, and this whole court thing with the possibility of me maybe having a jail sentence or whatever, it's been terrifying. Yet the chances were that I wasn't ever going to be sent to jail, because I'm not a habitual offender or anything, but you just don't know what happened if you get a bad judge on the day or whatever. Something could have happened, and I was scared, and that was freaking me out. And for months, I've been struggling to focus and stuff because of this. And I now, even though there's still issues with the neighbour, I feel like I've had a weight lifted off my shoulder with the court case over. That's done now. I can talk about this. I can explain to people why I've been so stressed, and that in itself is very cathartic.
It's just a shame that it's carried on today. That's the one concern I have, is that through everything that you've been through, all the worry that you've had, that you finally thought that this was all over. You thought that this was all done, this was all dusted. You've been to court, you've been found guilty, and you've been given a fine, and yet,
mate, they more than paid my fine. Oh my god. This is why the flat Earth community has fucking nothing on the Globe community. Look at the support the Globe community throw at you. Like, it's... Guys, if you want to thank Ranty for this as well, please make sure you're subscribed to his channel and stuff, and watch the stuff that's going to be coming out. I'm going to have to give Ranty a cut of these super chats, because that's...
You
guys are fucking making me cry at this point.
I'd be happy with another 50 subscribers. That would do me. I think I'm on 32,500 now, so it'd be nice to get up a little bit more. I know I haven't put much content out recently, but I did discuss that about, mental health myself with losing all this weight. A side effect of starving myself for months. But hopefully I'll be back on the up and up. And if you want to see all of some of these instances, let's say, and a proper documentary made about this, I will do it on my channel. I did promise Craig that I'd do this way back in August. When we first talked about this, you wanted me to break this, right?
Yeah.
So
let's do it. Let's make him famous, right?
Well, that's the plan. Let's make him famous. Yeah. You've got, how many subscribers are you on now, Craig?
52,800.
And I got 32 over on mine, and I'm sure that there's a few other people that will get to put some more videos out. We'll make him very famous. Very famous.
If you're on my Facebook, guys, my personal Facebook, and you've seen the post from earlier, I've purposely made that post public so it can be shared. So take that post I put on my Facebook and please share it everywhere. I want everyone to know what the kind of person he is. I want everybody that he knows to see the posts and know what kind of person he is. Because he lies to people and tells people that I'm the one that starts it and I'm the one that's bullying him and stuff,
Well, I see it that you just stood up for yourself. You gave this guy every help that you could give him. You probably knew that you were doing him wrong by actually helping him out, because the trouble is, once you give to people that have got a drug addiction, they'll just keep taking and taking and just keep coming back for more and more. And he obviously felt comfortable enough to try and steal your bike, or at least lay it away for some kind of drug deal. And I'm going to assume that's what happened. And he felt comfortable enough to actually do that, not realizing that there's a limit. You'll help someone out, but when it comes to, a bike or what have you, which can be a quite expensive piece of equipment, you're just not going to let him walk all over you at that point. Because the way I view it is he was walking all over you. Maybe that's what he thought. Maybe he felt that he could just take the piss out of you.
He took my good
to
nature.
the point where you would snap.
Yeah, he took my good nature for granted for years. And I regret my actions. I do. Hurting someone like that is not something I would ever want to do, but there is only so much a human can take before you snap. And I snapped. I have to face the consequence, though you guys have just paid for the consequences. But that's something I have to do. I have to face the consequences to my actions and hold my hand up and admit that I was wrong for that. But even the judge was clearly on my side,
I think probably, well, obviously your audience is on your side too, right? Because, this all started from you being a good Samaritan, helping someone out, and then who stole your bike. And people are going to get angry when you steal something from them, and, I don't believe that the guy should have come to your door or whilst you were watering your flowers and provoked you again, because that's essentially what he was doing. He was provoking you. And being trained in the military, if somebody stands up to you and you say something that you perhaps shouldn't have done, like, for every day that goes by, I'm gonna do this, that, and the other, but he then challenged you to do it. So what are you going to do if you don't do it? Then you're not a man of your word, right? So you had to do it. You had to step up. Those words came out of your mouth, and you might regret
I'm like, all right, I've put the fucking gauntlet out now, So yeah. But that's it, guys. That is the story of why I was arrested.
But can I just say, unlike the flat earthers who offer challenges, and when the challenge is met, they don't pay up, because there's plenty of those challenges out there that people have said they'll give £1 million away or £50,000 away if you can complete a challenge. When they challenge you to do something, they never pay up. But you basically gave a challenge to someone and said, for every day that I don't get my bike back, I'm going to get stuck into you. And he said, go on then. and you got straight into it. So you followed through, mate.
This may be the biggest super chat stream I've ever had, and I'm not even joking. It's at times this that I start not knowing what to say and do when you see the support that people give you. Right, Ranty, I know that your phone's dying and stuff, so do you want to head off now and get yourself sorted? Because I'm probably going to be here for quite a while reading super chats.
That is amazing.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I'm glad that I was. I mean, obviously, you might want to bring some other people in too to have a talk about this as well, which would be want to join the stream, give you a little bit of support. Hello.
Hello. Yeah. Well. Oh, fucking hell. I didn't want the stream to be too long.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Yeah. So I think I want to read the super chats now and start shutting down. So I'm
okay.
Honestly don't know how to talk right now. But Ranty, thank you very much for coming on, buddy. I really appreciate it. It's great to see you back. It's great to see you looking so good. And I really look forward to the new content on your channel.
Yeah, especially the next one coming out.
Absolutely. All right, bud.
All right.
Well, have a good night.
Thanks for having me on.
No worries, dude. I will speak to you soon.
See you in a bit. See you later.
See you later.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, guys, if you're not subscribed to Ranty, then you can click on the title with his name, Auditing the Absurd. Auditing the Absurd. And make sure you subscribe to him. He's going to be doing a full documentary on what I've gone through. But right now, I need to spend about an hour reading super chats because you guys are being insane, and I'm genuinely trying not to cry because you've actually the fine that I was charged, you've now doubled it. I could go and pay it again and beat him up twice. No, don't say that, Craig. Right, so we got up to Lord Luminous Poo that read the PDF. By PDF, he means the big post that I put on Facebook, which again, my personal Facebook, go and check it out. Yeah, Stephen Alley for $2 says, what we have here is a clear case of FAFO, the judge, yeah. Oh no, it's Andy for $2 says, FTFE criminal. A bit towards the cost, mate, thank you. You guys have... Fine. Oh. Pull my earbuds out. I don't know what to say. Lord Luminous Poo for $2 says, I read past tense what you put out. Yes, thank you very much, Lord Luminous Poo. Appreciate you taking the time to read that. Tim Tully for $20 says, starter to get a new bike, thank you. Although her bike was returned, it very much ruined that bike for her, and we ended up having to buy a new one. She is still training for a triathlon, which I'm going to be doing a fundraising stream for very soon. Oh my god, you guys. Sarah Jones has been a member for 7 months, says, hold to £20 to him, £400 plus total, what about the fucking bike? Damn crackhead. Globe Explained, who gave me €50, says, for your first installment, by the way, where can I contact you the best? I tried mail and Discord, but no answer. I have so many emails and stuff to respond to. Try Discord again, and I will get round to it. I'm nearly through all my Discord alerts, so I'll get there. Thank you very much. Little Miss Betty Page for $2 says, for £2, sorry, says, from a gal on wheels who can still kick ass too. Yeah, just because people like me are physically disabled, right, doesn't mean I'm weak. I'm strong, and I always have been. I might look like a little nerdy guy that sits on his ass with glasses and talks about physics, right? But I'm a black belt second dan. I'm combat trained by the military. I was captain of Navy teams. I was a cross-country runner. I'm big. Don't think because I'm disabled you can walk over me. Because I'll run you over. Lord Lunas Proof $2 says, once is an error, twice is a pattern. More, he's a D. Yes, he is. Hannibal True Silence for $20 says, Craig, I had a similar incident when a guy pulled a shotgun on me. But because I injured him and he was hospitalized, I got arrested. I had to apologize. But don't help him anymore. Call police whenever he comes to the door. Oh yeah, don't worry. Everything he does now will be recorded and reported to both the police and the housing association. Oh my fucking God. Fuck you, Ruhif. Fucking hell. Why did you just do... You see in the chat there what Ruhif has just done. Yeah, you're actually making me... Oh my God. This is a bit insane. Lord Luminous Pooh for $5 says he deserves death. It's a bit harsh, but I understand the sentiment. Send that to the cops. Do I have to get a plane ticket, bro? I'm work from home. I can do from there. I need a second. Oh my God. Well, I didn't expect that. Brewhif, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. I don't mean it. To Bill Tetley for $5 says, dang dude, how did you not put your walking stick up their backsides and turn them into human puppets? You're a better man than me. I had to seriously restrain myself. Oh my God, you keep sending me super chats. Judy Bassett for €20 says, I would have beaten him with one of my legs. Hey, when I get my leg amputated and I've got a fake one, maybe I can. Caucasian Sensation $5 says, this man got the ass kicking all entitled snowflakes need. Hopefully he'll clean up his behaviour, but probably he's an addict in the worst way. Yeah, I mean, I'd love him to get help and sort his life out. It means I wouldn't have hell, you know? Peter Flemberg for 100 sec says, keep your calm, gather evidence and stay safe. We can't afford to lose you. I'm going nowhere. Don't you worries. Hannibal True Silence $5 says, family first. You would never forgive yourself if something happened to a family member. Yeah, absolutely. I will protect my family with my life. Hannibal True Silence. No, just read that one. Lord Lewis Pooh $5. If you move, they win. Document and record. The law will eventually get it right. Yeah, you know, I'm not going anywhere. You don't bully me and get away with it. I win. Mr. E-Man, $5 Australian. A court order for the offender requiring the offender to move, called an AVO where I am. Don't worry, the housing office This is all going to be recorded. Oh my god, Ruhif. Now Pinion gave me a 65 sex emoji that says incredible. Thank you very much, buddy. I do enjoy the sex. And then we've got Tony Herpel for $49.99 US. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Says, here's a little to help with your court and judgment costs. Love you, buddy. I mean, you guys have doubled the fucking court costs. I love you too. Paul Kamish, £19.99 says, I'll pay his compensation. Yeah, that's the 20 quid for you, Simon. Enjoy. GG81 for €50. Oh my god, thank you. Says, do you own or rent? Rent, move on. Make him move. Like, I do rent. I'm a council renter. And I'm not really in the position to move for many reasons. Maybe when I, get ultra big time on YouTube, I can get a nice big place. But right now I'm where I am. But you guys supporting me, I can live for anything. Hannibal True Silence, $5 says, your family loves you no matter what you decide. I respect what you did. Sometimes doing the right thing is wrong. Just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's wrong. It's something I've heard quite a lot recently. Don Carnish 4250 Donkey Kong dollar says, keep protecting your family, Craig. All you need is love. And I feel loved from you guys right now. Eddie Reese for $50. $50. Thank you. I don't think he should be forced to move. He needs to be held more accountable for his actions, and he still owes you a bike. You deserve to have a safe place for you and your family. The bike was brought back, but like I said, it was practically ruined for Emma. $315 says, petty super chat cause F Simon. Yeah. Fuck him indeed. Rachbot for 20 Australian dollars says, we fucking love you, Craig. No, I fucking love all of you. I'm literally only halfway through the super chats. This is I've never. Oh my god. Technics1 for $550 says, stay strong, my friend. You'll get through this. With you guys, yes, I absolutely will. Bill Tetley, $30 says, fine paid. Thank you. And it was at that point that I reached the fine that I've had. Which means I'm only halfway through the super chats based on the amount I have right now. Hugh Jars for $20 Australian says, they'll be in jail soon, but you deserve a better life. This will hopefully be a small step in that direction. As long as my wife and kids are happy and safe, that's all I want. GG81 for 50, another €50 from GG. Thank you. 20 quid over now, yeah. Yeah, that fine level has been smashed. Kim Lawrence, 100 Nokia, says, I've never given a super chat, but I support you and stay strong. Did I just break your super chat, Cherry? Oh my fucking god. That's awesome. Welcome to the world of super chats. Thank you very much. Globe Explain, €20 says, my name is Simon. I'm sorry for that. Cheer up, we'll get through this together. I feel like you guys can get me through this. Janos Takos for 1024 Huffs says, which guy is stronger? The Flerf who wanted to fight you or your neighbour? Asking for a friend who wants to bet on your next fight. Anyone who wants to fight a disabled military veteran is not strong in any way. Industrial Nerd, whose nomination CC is currently winning top left to 2023, for $10 says, thank you, love you, Craig. Thank you, Industrial Nerd. I fucking love you. Cryoraptor A303TM for £20 says, I don't normally donate to YouTubers anymore, but now that I've got a bit of disposable income, here's a tip, mate. Keep fighting the flat earth. I will. And thank you for your support. You didn't need to do that. And from the bottom of my heart, Cryoraptor, thank you, honestly. And then Dave McKeegan, one of my favourite new flat earth debunkers, for £20 says, fine covered and crack open a bottle to celebrate, mate. I'm going to have some tequila after this, that's for fucking sure. Tesla Bit and Radio, $2 says, glad to help out. Oh, thank you. Snipey McSendit for $10 says, Callie, love my friend. Thank you, Snipey. Love back to you. Joe Black, who's been a member for 1 month, says, come on, chat, let's make Craig ball his eyes out. You did. I had to go away for a minute. JPP3030 for $5 gives a smiley face. Oh, thank you, dude. JPP, thank you very much. False Narrative Colts for $20 says, sorry to hear about all you and your family has been put through. Stay safe. Oh, thank you. I intend to keep my family safe by whatever means necessary. Draco Fire has been a member for 31 months. That's longer than he's been alive, because he's only like 10 or something. Defending life and property with force like a true American. Rah! US! US! America! Fuck yeah! The Logical Red, $5 Australian says, I am only at the start, but I can see people saying there's a fine. Here's 5 of Australians' finest. I hope it helps. Waikakamukau. Well, thank you very much, my friend. The fine's paid. You guys have, you've done that. And you're still sending me super chats. Oh, I don't know what to do. Andrew Garner for $19.99 says, I can't allow the thief to be up 20 quid. We got your back, Craig. Onwards and upwards. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew. For $2, sends £5 and says this, and only this time I'll speak in the language of meatbags. Hang in there and don't let him win. Don't feel scared. Protect your life. For €2. Well, thank you very much for $2. For €2, £2. Thank you. Cryoraptor A303TM for £6.90 says, one more. And that means a lot considering you don't normally do it, dude, so thank you. This guy sounds like a div I went to school with, provoked everyone into attacking him and playing the victim afterwards. A waste of oxygen. Yes, he fucking is. He needs to find a tree and say sorry. And then Shane Taylor gave me $100. You crazy motherfucker. He says, you deserve better. Please get an extra camera or two. We love you, even here in the US. I genuinely feel loved right now. Mr. E... thank you, Shane. Bottom of my heart. Top of my... The whole of my heart. Thank you. Mr. E-Man, $2 says, FTFE is a bad... ... Not a bad boy. Let's see. Was Craig a bad boy in the poll? 42% say yes. 58% say no. I was naughty. I admit it. Shamrock Banks Observatory for another $49.99 with no message. Thank you. Caucasian Sensation, $5. This dude is lucky he didn't do this in the US, like you said. Simon Wilkes Sleeping Giant and got whiny when he paid his dues. Clear your conscience. And I don't think I'm ever gonna have a clear conscience because I don't like hurting people. I played that back in my head for days, what I did to him. Whether or not it was justified, I felt bad doing that, and it hurt me as a person to know that I'm willing and capable of doing that to somebody. I didn't like that about myself. So that it is what it is. Eddie Reese for $10 sends a KO sticker. Thank you very much. Megan Satanis for $20. Thank you, Megan. Be strong, FTFE, and call the cops on his junky butt as much as you need to. You and your family don't deserve all this. Tell your wife and kids I send them my love, and everyone else here does too. Thank you. They're gonna know that we're loved, honestly. Technics1 for $2 20 Canadian cents says super happy for you. Krakatoni is on in an hour. Yes. Once this is done, Krakatoni will be debating Witsit. You're still sending me super chats. Borg Emporia, $5 says, how are the wife and kids handling this? Keep up the good work. Your work helped me get through my own depression. Well, Borg, I am so glad that I could help you. The wife and the kids are troopers. I've got a strong family. So we're good, thank you. And then Ruhif, the absolute dickhead, made me run out of the room and cry. Because he sent me a fucking $200 Australian super chat saying, cry for me, biatch. And I did. Ruhif, you didn't need to do that, dude. You support me enough by being better at debunking than I am and allowing me to use your stuff. You didn't need to do that. You did You didn't need. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. Debatable D, €2.49 says, I can't top Brewhif. Sorry, here's a latte instead. It's a very much appreciated Debatable D, honestly. You didn't need to send anything, but thank you. Oh my god. Tesla Bit Radio, $6.66. Hail Sagan. FTFE.exe rebooting, please stand by, yes. Brewhif broke me. Draco Fire, $1.99 says, 200 Australian dollars? That's like a whole 10 quid. It's a lot. It's a red. It broke me. Thank you. Nicholas Barkley for $2 says, love you, man. Your work is very important. Thank you, Nicholas, for the support. It honestly means the world. Globe Explained, 2 years. We are sadists and want to see you cry. Yeah, fuck you all. Love you lots. It's a Rubik's member for 2 months says, I'll find yourself out my pint and some herb on me. Well, thank you. I will. I'll have a pint on you. I will. Thank you. Dave Banham, £5 no message. Thank you very much, Dave. Lord Luminous Pooh for $5 says, a $200 super chat in spirit. I'm broke, but we'll find the money if I have to get there. I'll fight for fight. Winston for the win. You don't need to do anything, dude. You've done enough. You are a good supporter, and it means the world. JJ Gradjavlia for $5 says, we are here for you, FTFE, no matter what. I know, and it makes me feel so good. And then GG81, who's already given me $100, then gifted another 20 memberships. So, thank you, GG. Oh my god, you guys, you're keeping on going. It's a Rubik's for $5 says, I don't have much, but if you find yourself out my way, a pint and some herb. Yeah, thank you, Rubik's, absolutely. Sarah Jones for £2 says, yes, come on, CC for top left. You know he'll love the t-shirt. CC is winning top left. I'm going to have to work on that. Flanker420 for $10 says, for support, much love, hope it all works out. Please watch out for yourself, long live FTFE. Thank you. Thank you very much, Flanker. Mr. E-Man, $5 Australian, says, everyone has the limit, he pushed yours, he found out. I'm a human. I can only take so much. Thank you, Mr. E-Man. Janos Takas for 2,048 huffs. I have experience with these kind of people. If you call the police on them, they will move eventually, reporting for every little thing. And I have a close friend, stay at your place for safety. Don't worry, he is being reported for everything. And then Eddie Reese, been a member for 18 months, says, it's almost 420 PST, load one up and smoke it. I'm going to finish this stream and go and have a smoke and a little celebrate about the incredible amount of support that you guys have shown me. I wasn't even expecting super chats today at all. And, you know, I don't do these streams to get super chat. I do it to entertain you. And this just talking about my personal life and the problems that I've had recently, and you still support me like this, I'm genuinely speechless. I can never thank you guys enough. There were 600 people watching. I'm sure this video is going to get a lot of views as well because it's a bit clickbaity, right? Son of a bitch, Jeff for $4.99 says keep up the good fight. Thank you very much. And then, oh my god, Stringer News 1 says check your PayPal. Oh my fucking god, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why did you do that? Stringer. I'm not going to tell everyone what you've just done, but so my god. I don't want to, you know, put up the amount. If Stringer, if you want to tell everyone how much you've just given me, please feel free. Danelle, $49.99 with no message. Shane Taylor just become a member. Welcome to Destroyers. Geologics, $10. As Abraham Lincoln said, F them hoes. On to bigger and better luck. I'm going to have to go before I start crying again. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything, all of you, and you, Stringer. You don't. It's a Rubik's for another $2. Says also a free NASA Center trip if you visit. Oh my god, that sounds amazing. Well, I'm going before I break on the internet again. Oh my god, Lord Lewis Pooh, another $10. I'm not a supporter, I think I'm a friend. We played D&D once, and without you, I wouldn't have met Batch and the wonderful people that came with that. P.S. We need our Mad Dwarf back. Yes, you are my friend. All of you are. Remember, guys, stupidity is not right. Fight the flag. Fight the flag. Fight the flag. Oh my god. Fight the flag. 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 Fight the flag.